Same-sex marriage supporters are overjoyed now that a judge in the Keys has ruled the state's same-sex marriage ban is unconstitutional. But for now, that only paves the way for same-sex marriage in the Keys, in that one county, Monroe County. So what does this mean for Southwest Florida and the rest of the state in the meantime? 4 in your corner, Sarah Belsel joining us now with the answer and why some legal experts are calling this ruling confusing. Sarah?
Well, yesterday's ruling was filed by a Monroe County Circuit Court judge who only has jurisdiction over that area. So that means Florida same-sex couples could travel to the Keys and get married, but when they got back home, they'd be right back where they started. But same-sex marriage supporters say this is still a step in the right direction.
It was a little bit of a disappointment, but it's still a beginning.
A bittersweet ruling for same-sex marriage supporter Arlene Goldberg. A judge in the Florida Keys ruling the state's same-sex marriage ban is unconstitutional, giving those couples the green light to be married, but only in Monroe County.
It almost doesn't make any sense for one county in a state to have marriage and nobody else. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
State Attorney General Pam Bondi immediately filing notice of appeal, saying the final decision on this issue should come from the U.S. Supreme Court. Her appeal triggered an automatic stay in the case, putting a hold on any wedding bells in Monroe County.
I was shocked that a circuit judge would take the opportunity to declare something unconstitutional.
Family law attorney Mike Chinopoulos says a ruling that only affects a small portion of the state is going to cause mass confusion.
You go to Monroe County, you go to Key Largo, you get married on a weekend, you come back to Miami-Dade County, you're not married anymore.
The next step is for the case to go in front of a district court of appeals, and if that court affirms the decision, same-sex marriage would be allowed in all counties that district represents, about 20% of the state. But Chinopoulos says he doesn't see the entire state of Florida accepting same-sex marriage for years to come.
This has to bubble up to the state Supreme Court, and ultimately it's going to be the United States Supreme Court that has to put this question to rest.
Now, there still are other same-sex marriage lawsuits pending in the state. 6 Miami couples are awaiting a ruling from a judge that would allow same-sex marriage. Then there's the case Fort Myers resident Arlene Goldberg is a part of, demanding Florida recognize same-sex marriages performed legally in other states. All of those plaintiffs in those cases hoping the Monroe County decision has a positive effect for them. But the Attorney General's office arguing judges shouldn't dismiss the constitutional ban, which voters passed with 62% of the vote in 2008. Now, coming up at 6:30, we'll be hearing what Governor Rick Scott has to say about these issues. Live in the studio, Sarah Belsel, Fox 4 in your corner.